been living here like about 30 years.
30
Almost
years?
30 years.
30 years.
Actually, next year will be 30. My feeling is really that I love living here, but it's really so hard to live here. It's kind of hard really bringing people into the building because sometimes I feel a little shame because of the fact that the apartment, not the necessary apartment, their floors are messy, you know, and it hasn't been swept or mopped in days, and you know downstairs looks really horrible. Sometimes there smells, you know. So like I said, I have mixed feelings, but I'm glad to live here because I'm comfortable here, and the fact that it's affordable.
Have you noticed any changes in public housing in the last few years?
Once upon a time, before I got up to go to work, which was I'd be leaving the house like around 7 o'clock. The maintenance man is already downstairs because he used to like mop the downstairs floor and then come upstairs. He was already downstairs like around 7:30, almost 8 o'clock, right? And then he will come and mop the floor. This was every single day. Every single day they would clean and mop the floors. Okay. Now you may see him sweeping. You may see him sweeping every once in a while, and I think these floors may get maybe mopped maybe once a week. But and then the elevators are always broken. There's always something with the elevators. There's always something. People do dirty things on the walls, and it doesn't really get cleaned for like over a week. The light one time over the light fixture, just right above where the elevator is, was broken for like about, oh no, my God. It was for, I would say, about a month. Now in the neighborhood, what's upsetting me right now in the neighborhood is how the neighborhood is changing, right? All the stores are run by me here on 125th Street. Actually, it's starting on Broadway, right where the subway is there. Right now, there are 2 stores closed down right there. Once you turn around the corner, we have the 99-cent store, the medical store, which has been there way before I came here. I know people who tell me they was there since they were young. That is gone. The pharmacy is gone. The regular bodega was a little Arab store. That is gone. So it's like about 5 or 6 stores right in front of 125th Street is gone. Across the street, the laundromat is gone. The store that sells sneakers and whatever it is going out of business right now. So basically, I don't know exactly what they're going to put in there, but I'm seeing the neighborhood falling. When I say falling apart, it's changing and it's scaring me. You know, so I'm scared of what is going to happen to us. You know, we that live in public housing, what is going to happen to us? You know, will we be able to live here? It's so hard for us to afford even working. I mean, to go to the grocery store just to buy food. Everything is so expensive. So if just buying groceries is so expensive, what is going to happen if we just, you know, just to live comfortable in the neighborhood? You know, I'm just really worried about that.
How do you feel about the conditions in the building?
Okay. I feel that the conditions in the building, actually, if the building is you know, the infrastructure, let's put it that way, is taken care of, if they fix things that really need to be fixed, like example, the problem in my bathroom with the wall is there seems to be some sort of leak in the wall that is coming from what I was told, maybe from the roof. I'm not sure exactly. It could have been a busted pipe or whatever. But if they would fix these things, fix the pipes in the building that are leaking, fix the walls, do what has to be done to upkeep the building, I feel this building could last for a very long time.
And why do you think these conditions are still existing like they are today?
Well, these things are existing, from what I have learned, they're existing because because of the fact that the state and the city hasn't been putting money, hasn't been funding public housing. From what I heard, the state hasn't funded public housing since 1998 and the city since 2003. But for what happened, there were a few things that happened just recently, which I am really glad about, is that for the first time, the state was able to put 3.5 million, 3.4 million into public housing, which is good, but not really all that good. We need more money. And we were able to get the shelter allowance bill which was good, where they will put like $47 million into public housing, and also the fact that actually the city hasn't really given us anything this year, but hopefully maybe with the budget modification we might be able to get some. Now, all of these things that I'm talking to you about, I learned from CVH by being a member of CVH. That's how I learned all this. The federal government is holding back on money. Every year, since the whole welfare reform and all that stuff started, and this when the state and everyone started not funding public housing, the federal government every year has been giving less and less to public housing. And my feeling is that the reason why they are doing this, and the state and the city and everyone is doing this, is because they basically want to do away with the housing. My rent was raised from, how much was I paying? Like about $230 to $629. And all this happened within a month time. Actually, they told me about it like I think it might have been about October, and by November I was paying $629, which was too much for me. I mean, it got me crazy because I was wondering, how am I going to pay this? And all this happened because of the fact that my daughter, who was working, because my daughter is in college, she's getting college, and she was working to help upkeep her finances. Well, they got a hold of all this information, and my other daughter, who was living here at the time, and they just raised my rent up too high. And I told them my other daughter was getting ready to leave. Now, when she left, I told them, they said, as soon as she leaves, bring her information and we'll bring your rent down. But all they did was, and I have to laugh, all they did was bring my rent down from $629, and they just only took $12 out of it. And right now, what is worrying me really more than anything else is not just the fact that we're going to lose public housing. What's going to happen for my children? What if they decide that they want to go back? You see, I have a family. I have grandchildren, and I want them to be able to come back and live in the neighborhood if they need to. You know, you never know what's happening because it's really so expensive. My daughter, who just moved out, she's having a lot of problems right now because it's so expensive just for her to live in outside of public housing. So I really don't know what is going to happen to them. I don't know what the future is going to bring. So I'm really worried about that, you know.
And what would you do if there was no public housing?
I don't know. I have to be straight. I don't know. Where would I live? Homeless shelter, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go and live with some family, but who would I go live with? I mean, my son has an apartment, 2 bedrooms, and he has children, you know. I mean, where would I go? I'm not really sure where would I go. I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay, thank you, Ann. Have you been charged for repairs, or are repairs being handled? Or
I don't.
Happening. You know?
Well, I've heard of the I haven't been charged for repairs, but I know of people who told me that they've been charged for my repairs. Maybe it's because of my income. I'm not really sure, but one thing I know about when it comes to repairs, it takes them a long time for them to do anything. You understand? You have to call up and make a lot of noise. They give you appointments, and then sometimes they don't even come. Okay? Or when they come, they really don't do much for me. Like, for instance, I hate to keep going back to the problem with the wall, but they go there, they just patch it over, and they don't do what they're supposed to do. The windows keep breaking. I have to keep calling them all the time just to fix the windows because for some reason, I don't know, these cheap windows they put in there, it keeps falling apart. So it's constant. It's just a constant, I came here not really thinking that I was going to stay as long as I have been, Really, my husband and I, when we first came here, we only had, I shouldn't say 2.5, but we had 3 children at the time. My baby, my son, he was like around 9 to 10 months old when we actually moved in. We had applied for public housing long before that. Now, when we came, we thought that we would just come. It was going to be a transition thing. We would just come and just live and, for a little while and then leave. But once we came here, after a while, I started having more children. So right now I have 5 kids, I have 5 children, and I noticed that, of course, I really couldn't, this was really the best place for me to live. I brought up my five children right here. So far, I mean, not all of them have families. I have grandchildren, as you could see. I have a few grandchildren, and I want my children to be able to come back here if they need to. You need to have a base. In a way, my house right now is a base for them. If you notice that they come back whenever they need, assistance by, help in whatever situation. And I want my children to be able to come back and, to have a place, like you have your home, and have my grandchildren come and visit me. And it has been a good place for me personally to bring up my kids.